So we're going to be in here for 75 minutes. Then we go up to the court, and we have two players that are going to play each other. And I'm going to coach them, both of them at the same time, while they're playing points. So it's kind of like we get to learn how to build points here. We get to learn the patterns and percentages that underpin everything. Then we get to go and see it live. So I really enjoy putting these two together. Sometimes I just do this presentation, or sometimes I just do that. Joining them together is what it's all about.
Does the attendees get to play in that, or is it you have some?
We've already got two people lined up. You will do a lot of other playing throughout the week, but this afternoon you're going to sit and look and listen and figure out what these guys are doing well in their points and what they need to improve. So today here in the classroom is cut into two sections. We're going to learn, the second section is all video of points. We're going to watch points, we're going to pause points, we're going to figure out where balls should go. But as I was putting this presentation together over the last couple of months, I'm like, I can't just show you that first without showing you the percentages that underpin everything. If I just say this ball should go there, you should say to me, why, Craig? Why? Why should that ball go there? Why is it better to hit a forehand and a back versus a backhand over there? So we're going to start with some patterns, we're going to start with some percentages, we're going to watch some points, and then we're going to finish up on the court. As we go along, if you have any questions, don't wait to the end. Please, hand up. Please, you've got a question. This is kicking off perfectly.
Will anything in here be applicable to doubles as well? Or no?
Singles, and only singles today.
Okay.
Doubles, we're doing a double one, I think in 2 days. Yes.
You're doing something similar tomorrow?
Game plan. It's not really similar.
So it's not going to be redundant?
No, it's not going to be redundant. Tomorrow's going to be different to this. Okay? Let's get going. We talk a lot about consistency. I've got a 10-year-old boy. He loves soccer. He's so into soccer. He's a little bit into tennis. But when we go out on the tennis court with my 10-year-old, we work on consistency all the time. He needs to hit 2 balls in a row and 3 balls and 5 balls. It is the card you play to enter into our sport. But as you progress and get better, and as you start competing, and as you start playing points, and tennis gets into a very competitive level, is consistency still the amazing thing that we think it is to begin? And we put it up on a pedestal. And you say, Craig, hey, this is blasphemy. How could you even question consistency? We're going to question it today. We're going to question it. So we have first strike, which is everything around the start of the point, and consistency, which is everything about the long points. Before we get started, think back to your last year of tennis. Think back to how many times you've stepped on a court, played a match, and walked off and gone, yes, I played awesome. Forehand was there, the backhand was there, I served well, I thought well, I wasn't nervous. It was how I want to play the sport. It's how I want to do it all 52 weeks. How many times in the last 12 months have you walked off the court and gone, I was awesome today? Think back. How many?
Twice.
None is a common answer. Very common. Twice is the most common answer I hear. One, two. I've never heard anyone say more than 5. So what I'm essentially teeing you guys up for is that you step onto the court with this unrealistic expectation of my A game's going to be, I'm going to play great today. The number one job when you play a match for all of you is, I need to play great to win this match. Wrong. Wrong. Your number one goal is to make your opponent play bad. That's your number one goal. If you happen to have one of the best days of your life, congratulations. It's one of the couple of days of the year that you walk on the court and you're going to be super satisfied. It's a tough sport. There's a lot of errors in our game. You're not going to play great all the time. In fact, it's only going to come up once every few months. Reality, even for the best players in the world. I'm going to ask you to quote me this at 12 o'clock after 10 beers, okay? So you better burn this into your brain right now. This is so important for you as you try to progress from 3-5 to 4-0 to 4-5 to 5-0. Marginal gains make the impossible possible. That's why we're here. You've got 4 days of making marginal gains, tiny little gains. a point here, a step there. I need to get to 4 or 5. I don't know how to do it. There's your answer. Tiny little gains, and we're going to look at those right now.
So I can ask you a question?
Yes.
English is a second language. Can you define marginal gains?
The smallest little tiny gains possible. 1 drop of water into a bucket.
Okay.
We look at matches. Matches are broken down into sets, games, and points. I analyze points way more than the others. The points are the building blocks of our sport. You want to go out there and you want to get wins. I don't really look at it like that. You need to play 1 point at a time. It's how our sport's organized. So we need to figure out, am I serving? Is it a first serve or a second serve? How is my opponent? Better with the forehand or the backhand? And we figure those out. If you're number 1 in the world, last year was Andy Murray for the men, I believe Serena on the women's side, or Kerber, maybe it was. If you're number 1 in the world, what percentage of points? They're winning over 90% of their matches. What percentage of points do they win?
51.
I love you guys. And look over here on the left, we've got a lot of different rankings, and 55%. I start with the most important thing. You are number 1 in the world. Hey, I'm number 1 in the world. How many points did you win last year? I took a 50-50 battle, and I tipped it to 55%. That's our sport. So when you walk around the court and lose a point and drop your shoulders and look to the sky and pop the racket and you get mad, it's the reality of our sport. If you are 10 in the world, you're winning 52%. If you are 50 in the world, you are losing more points on the ATP Tour than you're winning. Very, very thin margins in our sport.
Can we take pictures or?
Yeah, I'm going to have this presentation. I give it to PJ, and he gives it to all of you guys. So you'll have this. It's all for you. But if you want to take pictures, please feel free. For the ladies, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. If I'm coaching a 12-year-old boy or a 12-year-old girl, if I'm coaching one of you, a lady or a man, it's the same patterns. Very, very. If I see 100 metrics in our sport, 97 of them are almost identical. It's really just the overall power of the first serve. But don't forget, Serena hits a faster first serve than Novak, than Rafa, than David Ferrer, than Tipsarevic, than a lot of the guys. Do you have a question?
Does that same percentage relate to doubles as much as it does singles?
It's a little different, but similar. Ballpark.
How about recreational players?
I like that. I like that. What you're seeing up here, it doesn't matter whether it's Novak versus Andy. It doesn't matter whether it's Mark versus Sinat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 2 llamas playing on the dark side of the moon. It's the same thing. We look at tennis and say, okay, maybe you two guys, your average speed of ball is 50 miles an hour. Maybe their average speed is 80 miles an hour. Yes, there is a difference in ball speed. Yes, there is a difference in foot speed. But essentially, we're playing the same patterns. You're just doing it at a slower level. We play a game of errors. 70% of our sport at the top level is errors. For you, I would say 75%. I would say 3 out of 4 points that you play end in an error. Men and women, as we see here, very, very similar. We talk so much about consistency, which is avoiding the unforced errors. When you look at all of the stats, the ATP, the WTA, you're going to see a unforced errors column and a winners column. We don't see a forced errors column. Forcing errors for men and women, for all of you guys, is number 1. You force them. You do something to make your opponent miss. We're going to get into that today. Winners come third. So when you look at that, you say, I like to wait for my opponent to make unforced errors. I'm a very consistent player. Or some players, a lot of in the room will say, I like to get winners. Winners is the number 1 way I like to get my points. It's not. So when you think, as we talk about the right way to build a point, it's so important to figure out, tell me what, if you were to describe the ideal point for you, what does it look like? How does it end? How does your ideal point end? So, you winning the point, okay? I get that. I get that. How would you like the point to end?
My game is the consistency. Get it back every time.
Get it back. And you hope they miss.
Well, and you play where their weaknesses are. If they don't like it in a certain zone, you put it where they don't.
Okay, I like that.
Passing shot.
Passing shot.
Hit a winner.
Passing shot winner.
At the net.
Okay, be at the net. All good. There's nothing really wrong with this. But it's all about leaning on the opponent. Most points are played at the baseline. I love the net because the stats love the net. We're going to see that as we go along. But making the opponent miss, going to their backhand and making them miss is a repeatable pattern of play. You can form enough points doing that to win a match. So we look at those three different areas, and then if we say, okay, let's combine forcing errors. Let's go back to this. Let's combine, that's aggressive play, and that's consistent play. So if we combine the two aggressive plays together, it's about 75% of the points for the guys. We play an aggressive sport. I'll repeat that. We play an aggressive sport. This is what you want to do. You want to play aggressive. And does aggressively mean hitting a winner? No, it doesn't. It's included, but it doesn't mean hitting a winner. It means leaning on the opponent. You want to force errors. As we look today, this is a big deal. How do we force an error? There's 8 ways to do it. 8 ways you can hit a shot and make the opponent miss. What are they? What can you do? We have one over here. Consistency will make the opponent miss. Eventually they miss. Get 4 balls to their backhand. What else?
Serve.
It's not a shot. It's something you do with the shot.
Change the pace.
Different power. Really hard, really soft. So there's 2. Consistency, power,
Okay.
depth for sure, spin,
Angle.
direction, height, court position, time. So the first 4, and they're not best to worst, but the first 4 organized on the tennis court. So anywhere, then left and right, low and high, and well, front and back and low and high. The next 2 are the ball, court position, and taking time away, rushing the opponent. When we go to the practice court and we're practicing forehands and backhands cross court all day long, there's not a lot of time taken away. But as soon as we start serving and returning, we're very rushed at the beginning of the point. This guy won 9 titles out of 10 years, 2005 to 2014. He won 98.5%, 66 and 1. You say, Craig, you know, it's outrageous. And it is outrageous. We've never seen that at a Grand Slam. But when we break it down, Rafa during those 10 years in the 9 slams only won, well, excuse me, not only won, he lost 20% of his sets when he went 66 and 1. I was just at the Academy last week. It's ridiculous. If you guys are thinking of tennis holidays, the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca is amazing. The games, he only won 64%, winning 66 out of 67 matches and points. Remember, the regular number 1 is 55. He went 66 and 1 and still only tipped a 50-50 battle to 56. Your job on a tennis court is to win 1 or 2 more points than your opponent. That's about it. You're going to lose a lot of points. It's okay. When you lose a point, you say, well, that's just one of the 45% that I'm going to lose. You know, that puts me at number 1 in the world. I'm fine with that. So too often our mantra in tennis is don't miss. We go onto the court, don't miss. Make it, make it, make it, make it, make it, don't miss. It's not the best way to think about our sport. Our better way to do it is make them miss. So as we're learning how to build a point, there's our end game. Our end game is the opponent misses. So I want to change how you do your 1-hour privates. I want to change how you do your 2-hour group lessons. I want them to be more effective. I want the information from the match court to dominate your practice court. It's not about going out there and hitting 1,000,000 balls. That's not going to win you matches. Is consistency overrated? You should say, shame on you for asking that question, Craig. Of course it's the best thing. Isn't it the best thing? How can a lack of consistency be bad? 20 balls in a row. Let's hit 20 balls in a row 4 times. Hit a 20, catch it. Do it another 20, catch it. Has to be good, right?
Up to a certain level, right?
Up to a certain level.
Be balanced with the first few shots.
Let's have a look at matches. So when we look at rally length, 0 through 4 shots, so what we're counting is balls in. If I serve to you and the ball goes in, we get a rally of 1. You hit the return in, good, rally of 2. I hit a winner, we got a rally of 3. I make an error, serve went in, return went in, I make an error, that's a rally of 2. I didn't make this up, IBM did. So we're not counting hits of the ball, we're counting the ball went in. So if 0 being a double fault, 0 through 4, 5 through 8, and 9 plus. Most of you in the room should know this from either last year or looking up my amazing website. Who doesn't know the answer to this? The breakdown. What percentage of points are played here, what percentage here, and what percentage here? Who knows? You don't know. So let's have a guess. Well, and this we're on the Pro Tour, where we've got the most consistent players in the world. They're more consistent than everyone in this room. What would you say for the men would be, what percentage of points here? Is it 40, 20, 60, 40, 20, 40?
40,
Have a
40,
guess.
20. 40, 40, 20.
70.
40, 40, 20.
70, 20, 10.
70, 20, 10. Have you lost your mind, man? You must have just come in and had you got, like me, you got jet lag. 80, 10, 10. I like all you guys. 2015 Australian Open is where I first started. You're absolutely right. 70, 20, 10.
I read your article.
Thank you so much. I like it. So why in the world are we spending 90% of our time on the practice court working on something that happens 10% in a match? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So there's our rally length men and women. You're like, Craig, the ladies are different. The ladies are a completely different game. Well, doesn't appear so. 2017 Australian Open rally length, basically identical. In fact, identical. The ladies were, even though it's 1%, the ladies had less long rallies than the men. Very interesting. Pro Pathway, Junior to Pro Pathway. This is a product I have called Game Plan with my esteemed colleague Warren Pretorius over there in the corner. Hi Warren, good to see you. Warren's talking, I believe, on Sunday. Make sure you drink plenty of water Saturday night and you get up and go and see him. So what we have here is 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s, college and pro level tennis. So we say, okay, where do we fit in? And this is national level. So, you know, for a lot in the room, you might be, let's say we're in 14s or 16s. These are good kids. Maybe I hang with them. Maybe I'm not as good. Maybe I'm more in the 12s. Some very good 12-year-old kids here. When we look at girls 12s, this is 0 through 4, the percentage of 0 through 4. At every single level of our sport, you will play more points in 0 through 4 than you will anywhere else. The serve, the return, the serve +1 and the return +1 dominates at your level, dominates at Novak's level, dominates everywhere. It's difficult. This is a difficult maneuver. It's difficult to put that in play all the time. It's easier to go back and rally all day long. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. How many serves did you get? How many returns did you get? Junior to Pro Pathway with forehands. These are forehand winners. 66% for the men, 65% for the women. Girls 14s, girls 12s. Two llamas playing on the dark side of the moon would be 67% as well. It's what our sport is. It's what our sport is. We play a forehand-dominated sport. And there's a lot of you in the room, you love your backhands. I'm super happy for you. But we play a forehand-dominated sport. This is very important for your mind, the way you think about tennis. If I go to you and say, we're going to go and practice consistency right now, which some of the sessions here should. It's a part of our sport, so we can't ignore it. But when I say to you, let's go hit, let's go rally, let's go make 40 balls. I know so many college programs say, let's put 100 balls in before we start anything. How many 100-shot rallies are there in a match? So if I say to most players, all of you guys, let's go rally, you're in your mind, the neurons start firing, and you're like, yeah, that's great to me. I'm in Tuscany, which I actually will be. Is that right, Donato? I'm going to Tuscany? I will be on Tuesday. In your mind, you're sitting there in this beautiful villa. There's a glass of red wine, there's olive oil, there's bread. Somebody's fanning you. You can. I'm rallying behind the baseline. Life is great. You say, okay, we're going to go work on the 5 through 8 patterns. 5 through 8 is chess. 5 through 8, Nadal, insanely good. The tennis IQ comes out in that rally length. And then some of you say, today for the next hour and a half, you're going to hit a serve, you're going to return, and you're going to hit a serve plus 1, a return plus 1, and then you're going to catch the ball. And then we're going to do it again and again and again. Instead of hitting 20 shots in a row 4 times, the new consistency is we're going to hit 4 shots in a row and make them 20 times. So when we go to the practice court, that's our mind. We're in Switzerland. You say, Craig, I'm a really good practice player. I'm so good in practice, but I'm no good in... Who are you? Hands up, be honest. I'm really good in practice, but I'm not so good in matches. Okay? What you're essentially saying to me is, I'm really good in Tuscany, but I'm not so good in Switzerland. Here's your problem for all of you consistent players that rally so much. Every single point you play starts in Switzerland. Every point. You're really good in Tuscany, and you're not so good in Switzerland, and you're trying to figure out why you can't win. Because you can't get to where you're good.
Great.
Yes?
Why most of the pros they have coach and have hitting partner, hitting for rally?
Why do most, it's only on the women's side they do that because the ladies really can't get along with each other. The question was, why do pro players have a coach and a hitting partner? On the men's side, almost never do they have a hitting partner. A few. But for the women, almost all of them do. They just don't essentially get along that well. So they don't like to hit with each other. And they don't like to hit with a girl they got to play, or they played 2 weeks ago. That's how it is.
Craig,
So it's not
one
right.
of the goals of repetition is to build the muscle memory, I've heard. So is that something that helps with?
Yeah, it's building muscle memory. Yeah, for sure. So we don't have a wrong or right here. Yes, we want to build muscle memory. Yes, it's okay to hit a bunch of balls, but holy cow, matches are all about serving, returning, serve plus 1, return plus 1.
So I'm trying to imagine developing a game. Should I be focused on dominating 0 through 4? Or should I say I'm the anomaly, and if I can last more than 4 shots, I'm going to win the majority of the points?
Your absolute... Let's look at Novak and Rafa, for example. Where, in our minds, where do we think they excel? Long rallies? Yeah. It's 0 through 4, they dominate completely. Everyone on the planet is a first strike player first and foremost. So yes, we do want to be good in 5 through 8 and 9 plus. We do want to know and have the confidence that we can go longer in a point. We're not cutting that off and throwing it out the window, but we're reducing it. We're reducing the amount of consistency work because we've only got an hour. And at the moment, the common practice court around the world is 50 minutes of forehands and backhands and 10 minutes of some token serving, returning, well, maybe hardly ever returning. So we need to change that. Let's do 25 minutes of serving and returning. Let's do 25 minutes of approach and volley. Let's do some specific second serve return work. The start of the points where the action is. So when we talk about it, it's like, I like this game style or I like that game style. I don't care. You say to me, Craig, I woke up this morning, I had a bowl of oatmeal, and I took the spoon I ate the oatmeal with to the court, and I played tennis with the spoon and I won. I'm going to say, play with that spoon again tomorrow. I don't care what you do to win. If the numbers and the percentages said long rallies where it's all about, I'm all in with long rallies. The numbers drive it. The truth drives us, not our opinion. Get rid of the opinion. So I'll go back. Which rally length has the greatest correlation to winning matches? So what we're looking at here is, let's say we have 100 players. 100 players, you all won. But we also give you, when you came off, we also recorded whether you won more points than your opponent in 0 through 4 and in 5 through 8 and 9 plus. So you won 6-3, 6-3. But where were you better? Were you better everywhere? Maybe. Or were you better in certain areas? So what we're going to look, so it's 2 criteria. So I really want you to be clear with this. The first criteria, you had to have won your match. If you lost your match, please go outside and come back in 5 minutes. Okay, everyone won. So we've all got winners. Now I ask you, look down on the piece of paper that I gave you. Did you win more points in 0 through 4 than your opponent? Let's have a look. So this is 5 Grand Slams of data. 2 US Opens in here. If you won 0 through 4, if you won your match, look down on your piece of paper, did you win more points in your match in 0 through 4? 91% of the time, the player that won their match also won more points in 0 through 4. The French Open was the most. If you win this rally length, it's almost a guarantee. You've got to really do something weird to win a match and not win more points here. You say, okay, well, Craig, who cares if it's even across the board? 5 through 8, it's going to be even, right? 91%. Drops like crazy. The match winner won 2/3, but the match loser did really good here. Now your long rallies, the ones that you crave on your practice court. If you won your match, you only won, you took a 50-50 battle and you just bumped it to 55%. So what we're seeing here is a natural, there's a natural part of our sport that we have no control over. The longer the point goes, whether you like it or not, the more even it becomes. In order to get into a 10-shot rally, I've got to make 5, you've got to make 5. We're even. It doesn't happen a lot. So what we're seeing here is the longer rallies are even. Stop practicing 40 balls in a row. If you want to win more matches, where do the numbers say you should practice more? It's super clear. There's not even an argument. You cannot, yes sir. Do you have an argument for this?
No,
Okay.
I have no argument. How do you track? I assume we should track that after a match.
Yeah, you can have somebody just, real simple, just rally length. Do whether you won or lost it. That was a 4-shot rally and put a W for you or an L, whether you won or lost it. Look at it this afternoon. Keep track of, I have no idea who these two players are. I have no idea the level. But look at their rally length. Look and see whether they're playing short rallies or longer rallies. So there's the 4 Grand Slams. The most of 0 through 4, if you did at the French Open on clay, it's more important. Or if you win those shorter rallies, you'll do better on clay. So normally we would not think that. US Open, 2 men's US Opens, dead even. So the person that lost the match comes off, and they say to their friend, "Hi, how you doing?" They're good. How'd you do in your match? Say, I lost. How'd you do in 9+? I did great. I was really consistent. I'm a consistent loser. That's the proof. If you lose, match losers are really consistent. They do just fine in long rallies. They do just fine in Tuscany. Everyone does fine in Tuscany. How can you not do fine in Tuscany? Match losers, struggle bus right here. For the ladies, this should make you fall off your chair. The ladies, 2015 US Open, of all the ladies that won their match, they had a losing record in the long rallies. Who cares? Who cares? We need to change our practice court and let these match data guide us. Couple more. You love the baseline, don't you? You love the baseline. The average baseline win percentage is a losing one. The baseline is a statistical nightmare. You are under 50% at every single slam for men and women. Approaching is great, serving and volleying is great. You talk all over the world. I'm going to Italy with the Italian Federation next week. First stop, Tuscany. And I'm going to be teaching these junior coaches this exact same data on clay. And these Italian kids, instead of hitting 1,000,000 balls cross court, thinking they're going to get better, we're going to start working on getting more to the net. We're going to start working on attacking more. We're going to start working more on aggressive play at a younger age. 2012 US Open, there are 7 men. Nishikori, 57, 54, 53. These 7 men, only 7 men had a winning percentage from the baseline. Everybody else lost. Everybody else lost more points than they won. The baseline is so tough to get an advantage. The guy who won it is right there, Andy Murray. Murray won 50% of his baseline points. The ladies topped out at 57%. Baseline's rough. You think it's great, it's rough. Roger Federer won the Australian Open this year. There he is right there, tied for 32nd best in baseline points. Roger Federer won 48% of his baseline points. Roger Federer never lost a match. He had a losing record from the back of the court. Here's Serena Williams. She's tied for 45th best from the baseline. She won 48% of her baseline points.
I'm sorry, this is the US Open?
This is Australian
Australian
Open. Australian Open. They didn't lose a match. And they're still underwater from the back of the court. Very tough. Yes, sir.
Did Roger play, what percentage of the points did Roger play from the baseline end up with?
I don't know that answer.
I mean, ballpark?
He was more forward, but Roger's in 7 matches, he's still playing a bucket. He played right there. No. Roger played 792 points. He won 384. 792 points in 7 matches is a massive amount of baseline points. He still can't find an advantage. Which rally length happens the most? We look at all the rallies, 4-shot rallies, 10-shot rallies, 14-shot rallies. Which rally length, when we look at all the rallies, which one happens the most? The most common rally in tennis, it's an actual rally length. It's 7 shots, or it's 3? 4. If whatever I tell you it is, you're going to make me a promise right now. Craig, I promise, I cross my heart that whatever number comes up here, I'm going to practice it more, because it's the number 1 rally in tennis, and I'm in with that. I dig it. My opinion is out the window. Please, truck, run over my opinion and bury it. 4. I hear 3s and 4s. Anyone higher? Most common rally length in tennis is a rally length of 1. So that means the serve went in, the return did not come back in. So you're going to work more on your return of serve. You're going to work more.
That's the return?
That is a rally length of 1. Is the serve in, return not in.
Gotcha.
2 shots were hit, 1 ball went in.
So the serve counts as 1?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. As it should. Some people, well, let's separate serves and returns. No, we're not going to do that. So, rally length of 1 is the most common. 3 is more common than 2 because the serve, the halo effect of hitting a serve helps you lean on that next ball more. A rally length of 5 is more prevalent than a rally length of 4. So the serve is still in effect for 2 more shots, and then it's done. So when you're serving, you really don't want to hit a 4th ball. Serve 2 more balls, and then you're in a dead even 50-50 battle. The effect of the serve is completely gone. So we see here, a 1-shot rally is 30% of our sport. Then 3, it halves to 15, and 5, it